Well, as we know, federal relief to states is running out and it couldn't come at a worse time. Governors are counting on some of that money to help with mass vaccine distribution. Blake Berman is live at the White House now with details. Hi, Blake.
Hi there, David. The CDC so far has given some $200 million to states for COVID-19 vaccine distribution, and another $140 million is coming at some point later this month. But governors all across the country are warning that distribution is going to be a challenge. Take, for example, the Republican governor in Ohio, Mike DeWine. He was asked earlier this week if his state has enough money for COVID-19 vaccine distribution, and this is what he said, quote, "No, we do not, but we're going to get it out there one way or the other. We have the ability to do that." We asked Health and Human Services, which is overseeing Operation Warp Speed, about those concerns today. They suggested that the states are just fine at this point, saying in part, quote, "The most significant costs of delivering and administering a COVID-19 vaccine will be covered by other sources, such as the federal government, McKesson through its distribution contract with CDC, and insurers working with retail pharmacies. So there is funding and support available to meet states' needs." Keep in mind, though, David, that right now states all over the country are facing a revenue shortage. For example, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates that for fiscal year 2021, there could be 28 states plus the District of Columbia with revenue declines of at least 10%. That is compared to the revenue predictions before COVID-19. By the way, as it relates to funding, the CDC also said that they are, or the HHS said rather, that they are working, the CDC is, to get more funds out to the states in 2021 and beyond. An acknowledgement there, David, that the states do need some help financially with COVID distribution.
All right, but I would
David?
take issue with one state that was on that map painted red, and it shouldn't have been. That's California, because California has a very surprising turnaround, a revenue windfall that I want to talk about with my guests. But other than that, great report. Thank you, Blake. I appreciate it.
I'll let you take it from here.
All right, will do. Joining me now on this, Walser Wealth Management's Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, we'll talk about California in just a second, but first New York. Because you talk about hypocrisy. They claim that they need all this money for the vaccine rollout, and Cuomo's saying how heartless the Trump administration is. Remember, it was Governor Cuomo who cast aspersions on Operation Warp Speed, called into question the efficacy and the safety of the vaccine itself, talking about just one vaccine, even though now we have 6 to choose from, saying he wanted to set up his own panel before he would allow it to be released. And now he's saying the feds aren't helping me enough with getting the vaccine out, after he did everything he could to possibly to bury the idea of an Operation Warp Speed vaccine.
Yes, David, and I would say just like that restaurateur that you had from Chicago, a segment or two back, he certainly didn't help his own state and with the lockdown. I mean, the lockdown measures that have been followed specifically in New York the entire time, even during the summer when we had case counts, deaths, and hospitalizations dropping precipitously, he's done his state no favors. And we've seen this week with what happened with the restaurant that everyone basically rallied at last night. This is ridiculous. It's outrageous. And on the one hand to say, we're going to decide whether or not we're going to distribute this FDA cleared vaccine or not as the state of New York, but then send us money because we need your help to distribute this vaccine. You can't have it both ways. Are you running a little mini, country there, or are you, not? What he
is running is his political future. That's about all he cares about, even when it comes to the safety and the health of New Yorkers. It's really outrageous. Let's talk about California now, because there's an extraordinary story, and it's coming from the best budget sources in California, that they are expecting to have a $26 billion revenue windfall. That's why I took issue with that map that Blake was showing us, because the state, on the contrary, being in the red, it is expecting a lot of extra money coming, and that's primarily because of Silicon Valley. The high-tech companies, none of them shut down. Very few, if any, fired any people. So the employees are paying taxes, big taxes. And so they've got all this money. But here you have Nancy Pelosi and Governor Newsom claiming poverty, that they need all this help from the feds, when they've got a $26 billion windfall.
You know, David, they took their budget prognosticators and they basically slashed all of the budget, expectation of revenue because of the shutdown and the virus. And what you see now in reality is this really dichotomy break of what really has affected the person who has to go to work to do their job, the restaurant people, all kind of laborers that need to work in person, and really all of the other people that don't, even Hollywood being shut down. And now they're exempted out of the new shutdowns that you'll notice. But all of Silicon Valley, obviously, the tech boom that we had this year has created this revenue windfall. And it's not only made up for all of the losses, but it's actually more than what they projected, 20 to the tune of 26 billion. So I really have a hard time with blue states that have these crazy shutdown rules experience the financial consequences that Texas and Florida are not experiencing when they stay mostly open, and then going and saying, oh, well, we need your help, federal government. I want all of the taxpayers to bail out our states, even though it was our edicts and our lockdown orders that caused these problems. The lockdowns are over. They should be over. We do not have a reason medically for the lockdowns. We know how this virus affects us.
We have to jump, but the bottom line is, they pride themselves, the leaders of California, of defending the little guy. They are hurting the little guy and defending the huge, humongous tech companies because they're paying out the extra revenue. Rebecca Walser, good to see you. Thank you very much.